Hello. Today we discussing the last parsha of the first book of the 5 books of Moses, Bereshit, and the parsha is called Vayechi. Jacob finally lives a tranquil life, the final 17 years of his life in Egypt, and before him passing away, he asks Joseph to take an oath to promise him that he will bury him in the Holy Land, in the cave of Machpelah. He blesses Joseph's 2 sons, Menashe and Ephraim, elevating them to the status of his own sons as the heads of the tribes and within the nation of Israel. They will have their own flags, and they will receive eventually the tribes. Menashe and Ephraim will receive their land portions in exactly the same way as all the other tribes. The patriarch desires to reveal the end of days to his children, but he is prevented by God from doing so. And there are many reasons, many discussions why this has happened, why was he prevented, and we are not going into that at this point in time. So, because Jacob is prevented by the Shekhinah, by God, to reveal the end of days and the time of arrival of Mashiach, and there are many reasons to that, many explanations why this happened, he is prevented. So he basically blesses all his sons, assigning to each one his role as a tribe. Judah will produce leaders and kings, lady scholars. From Issachar there will be seafarers, from Zebulun school teachers, from Shimon school teachers from Shimon tribe, soldiers from Gad, judges from Dan, and olive growers from Asher, and so on. Reuben is rebuked for confusing his father's marriage bed, because we know he moved his father's bed, the tent of Bilhah, to the tent of Leah after Rachel passed away. Shimon and Levi are rebuked as well for the massacre in Shechem and the plot against Joseph. Naphtali is granted with sweetness of the gazelle, and Benjamin is associated with a ferocious wolf, and Joseph is blessed with beauty and fertility. And that means that Menashe and Ephraim will be the carriers of that. A huge funeral procession consisting of Jacob's descendants and Pharaoh's ministers and leading citizens of Egypt and the Egyptian cavalry, and accompanies Jacob on his final journey to the Holy Land, and he is buried in the cave of Machpelah in Hebron. Joseph dies too in Egypt at the age of 110, and he too instructs his bones to be taken out of Egypt and buried in the Holy Land, but this would take place only after the Israelites leave Egypt during the Exodus. Before his passing, Joseph conveys to the children of Israel his last testament, from which he provides hope for them and faith in the difficult years to come, the years of slavery. And he says that God will surely remember you and bring you up out of this land to the land of which he swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And this is how Parsha ends. What I would like to discuss today is one interesting fact which took place after Jacob passed away. After the death of Jacob, Joseph's brothers were very, very afraid, because they were thinking at that time there was a custom that there is no retribution or old scores sorted out, until the father doesn't pass away. Joseph's brothers are not fully sure that Joseph will not punish them for what they did to him when he was young, 17 years old boy. And even though he appeared to have forgiven them for selling him into slavery, they didn't feel comfortable. Perhaps he still harbored some resentment. That's what they were thinking. And the only reason why he didn't take revenge is because Jacob was alive. So what they did, they came to Joseph and they sent him a message, basically. They told him, "Your father left these instructions before he died. This is what you are to say to Joseph." This is what they say to Joseph, this is what they were told by Jacob to pass to Joseph. "I ask you to forgive your brothers the sins and the wrongs they committed in treating you so badly. Now please forgive the sins of the servants of the God of your father." When their message came to him, Joseph wept. And the text of the Torah makes it absolutely plain that that was not exactly the truth. It was a lie. If Jacob had really wanted to say these words, he would probably send them to Joseph directly, face to face, himself. And the time to have done so was on his deathbed, and he could do that. The primary aim of the brothers' white lie was not to deceive, but to ease a potentially explosive situation. And perhaps this is why Joseph wept, understanding that his brothers still thought he was capable of revenge. Rabbi Sachs is actually explaining that in a very interesting way. The brothers still did not trust Joseph and still did not understand that his neshama was from a much higher realm. And yes, he totally forgave them because he knew why all of this has transpired. And Rabbi Sachs quotes the sages in saying, and the sages derived to the following principle: Mutar lashanot mipnei hashalom. It is permitted to tell an untruth or to change the facts for the sake of peace. So it means that a white lie is permitted in Jewish law. The fundamental question is, what is more important, truth or peace? And it's absolutely many philosophers, as a matter of fact, saying truth, the ultimate truth is this is the most important thing. You cannot lie. However, Torah and Judaism feels and tells otherwise. This is not the only place in Torah where Torah invokes this kind of a principle. We know very well when the angels came over to very old Abraham and Sarah and told them that in a year time Sarah will be with a child. Sarah laughed to herself, and she thought, after I am worn out and my Lord is old, will I now have this pleasure? God then asked Abraham, why did Sarah laugh and say, will I really have a child now that I am old? God did not mention to Abraham that Sarah actually referred to Abraham as being old. He slightly turned the facts, the truth's words. It is untrue because Sarah said, my Lord is old. However, God did not mention it because he did not want there to be any bad feeling between husband and wife. And here two sages said it is permitted to change some elements of truth for the sake of peace. It is clear that sages in both situations established this principle. Had we only known about Sarah's case, we could not infer that it is permitted to tell a white lie. God did not tell a white lie about Sarah. On the other hand, we can see that Joseph realizes that this is a white lie. But it's important to do that in order to keep peace. The most important thing in our life is peace. And if you need to twist the truth in order to keep peace, so be it. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.